Hey everyone, my name is Shashank Gaur, and in this video we'll be talking about proxies in JavaScript. So let us dive right into it. Firstly, we'll understand what proxy is and when and where we should use it. So let's just say proxy is an interceptor. What it does basically, let's say if I have an object. So this is proxy. In the center, and here we have an object. Okay, now proxy sits in the middle, and on the left hand side we have an object. So what it does, it takes in an object and intercepts it, and when the user is trying to access that object, so this is our user, which could be us, right? Because we'll be accessing objects. So it sits in the middle and acts as a layer in between accessing or setting values to an object. We'll see this with an example. So let's say I have an object with username and let's say age. Okay, so I'll initialize a new proxy. This is the syntax for it. And what I said earlier, it takes in an object. Okay, so proxy taking in an object, and the second argument that it has is handler. So handler is an object and it has multiple functions. These are all the functions that you have in a handler. Mostly we'll be using get function and set function. Right, so get is what you do when you do object.username. This is get. And when you do object.username equals to, let's say, Ritu. Okay, so these two operations we do on an object more often than not. This is where get and set comes in. So let us first understand what is get and how to use it. So get takes in two arguments. One is target, which is the target object, and the second one is property. So if I have to mimic the same behavior which we achieve in normal object, it will be return target property. So what we are doing here is basically how we try and access an object when we have keys in variables. Like if we have a key, let's say key equals to username, then we can access the same key like this. Same way we are trying to do here, and this is how we mimic the behavior that we see in objects. Okay, so this is the get behavior. Now there are a lot of use cases where we can use it. Let's say I have a table, and in the response from an API, I'm getting an object which has a lot of properties, and those properties I need to map on that table. So suppose if I access a new property, or if a property is not coming from the API, maybe it is empty or something, and the error is not handled on the backend, and we are trying to access that property. So what we can do is we can check if property in target, then do this. Otherwise we can add a fallback case, which is maybe we can return some empty string, or let's say no value, right? So this is how we can mimic and handle edge cases using proxies. Now let's see set function. So set also takes in target, and then it takes the property name, and the last is the new value, the latest the value that we want to set to the object. Okay, so here let's say I need to add a check on my age, where firstly I'll check if property equals to age. Okay, so my property is age. Then what I need to do is value less than 0, less than or equal to, because 0 cannot be an age. Then we can return something, maybe throw an error. Throw new error, age should be greater than 0, right? And in the other scenario, what we need to do, which is the default behavior, which is we'll set the property with the value, right? So this is how we achieve this. And set returns a boolean flag. So if everything is successful, then we return true. Okay, now I'll show you how to use it and how to check if our logic is working correctly or not. So what I'll do, I'll try and access proxy dot age and username we already have. So let's just see if we are getting username, and then let's see if we have, let's say, new value, which is email. Let's save this, and then node script.js. So firstly, I'm getting username, same as what I've initialized above. And second, I'm trying to access a new property, which is email. It does not have any value in our object, and we have handled this case that if a property does not matches the target or it does not exist in target object, then we'll return no value. So this is how we handle that error. Now let's see the set scenario. So what I'll do after this, let's say proxy dot email equals to abc@example.com. okay, so I'm trying to set a new property. This should work just like before. So now let's console.log proxy. New object would be email, also added to that object. Now if I try and change age property and give it value less than 0, maybe -21, let's save it, run this, I'm getting an error. Age should be greater than 0. So we can always handle these errors gracefully using try and catch. So what I'll do, I'll move this here and move this further down, and here we can add error dot message. See, I'm getting age should be greater than 0, and at the end of the entire function we have this console log. Okay, so this is what proxy is. Now the use case, there are several use cases of proxy. In libraries, we often have properties that gets deprecated over a period of time, and instead of those properties, new properties come in. In that case, we can handle, if we are building the same library or any custom library, we can handle this scenario of deprecating some props using proxies. And if you want such video, I can surely make one for you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Do subscribe to our channel and keep showering your love. Thank you so much. Bye bye.